Okie dokie, here we are, Monday the 8th of May, and this is my first weekly reading without my phone, because my phone decided to it's basically dead for all intents and purposes at this time. Um, so posting to Instagram is going to be a little more difficult for me today because I'm not sure how I'm going to get a photo. But that's not what y'all came to watch. Y'all came to watch a weekly reading. So, let's get to it. I will start with the rune. Now, this is going to interest some of you, maybe. But unfortunately, last week, I knocked over my little dish of runes, my opalite runes, and I was able to recover almost all of them. Two of them have fallen into what I call the abyss, which is there's like, I have all the furniture in this corner wedged really tightly, so it's like very difficult to get into the corner here. This is three end tables stacked onto each other, so there's a little void, a little hole in the bottom, and two of my rune stones are in that hole I call the abyss because I cannot reach it physically. I cannot reach into that abyss. So, I do not have my opalite runes. However, thankfully, I have two sets of runes. These aren't as pretty, but they'll do the job. And of course, the ever so helpful Loki. Look at the camera. Okay, look the exact opposite direction. Good boy. So first and foremost, we pick a rune. Aw, he approves. Good boy. Which rune are we gonna get today, baby? We got a tuft. Okay. This. Alright. Now I have the rune. I have a cat. I'm gonna put it on my journal. Hagalaz. And it came out sideways. That doesn't really mean anything, I think, because Hagalaz is the same either way you turn it, so it's technically irreversible. And it is not my favorite stone to pull in a reading. Well, we'll see how the rest goes. Let's get a flower card. You have goobers. Yeah, you have goobers. I'm just glad he's here. You know, people think you're twice as interesting if you have an animal. I don't know about other people, but I'm the kind of person, if I get invited to someone else's house, I'm looking for their pets. Actually, one of the parties that we did, um, they had this really cute Siamese mixed cat, and oh man, I was about ready to just leave with him. Sacred Lotus, Enlightenment. Well, hopefully we will be enlightened. Let's see what's next. Yeah, keep track of that, will you? There you go. Good boy. Alright. Now for our tarot card. This week. Three of Wands upright. Okay. Yeah. Three of Wands upright. It's the dude with a ship. Maybe that's indicative of a journey. I guess we'll see. It's hard to see on the cards, but there's a little rat or a mouse on the crates. Ugh. And then last but not least, our crystal. Oh, I'm starting to wonder if this week's not going to be too great. And of course that happens, but no one ever wants that to happen. Yep, big old amethyst. This is the one my fingers kind of just latched onto it, so I decided to roll with that. It's a pretty rock. Very pretty rock. You can't tell that it's so much more purple than my camera picks up. But, I'm getting what I paid for, and I didn't pay a whole lot for my computer. So, we have our 4 little instruments of knowledge acquirement. So, what do they say together? Right. And I think, if I remember correctly, Sacred Lotus isn't in my book. There's just lotus and lilies and other stuff, but there isn't actually the Sacred Lotus. I will double check that. Let's see, it's Nymphaea. It's Latin. Or whatever the scientific names are. I just automatically assume Latin. That seems to be the, yeah. We have Alba, Lutea, and, yeah. No Sacred Lotus, so we just have to go off of the card, which is Enlightenment, so let's see what we're learning today. What are we learning? Alright, Hagalaz, I know, is the Disruptor rune. It's, delays, forces beyond control, disruption, future out of your hands. It also indicates a risk worth taking. So that's a thought. It also says paired positive is an inconvenient but not catastrophic interruption. So let's see. I don't know. Enlightenment is a boy. Enlightenment is not a boy. I would say it's definitely more of a... My cat is... I'm gonna have to learn how to splice 2 videos together. Anyway, Enlightenment is more of a neutral territory, I think, because, it's just learning, learning something new, and yeah. Alright, 3 of Wands, upright, looking ahead, expansion, rapid growth. Okay. So, and then amethyst, balance, negotiation, decision making, responsibility, and change. All right. So it looks like this is going to be a very change-heavy week. Possibly sudden, very big change. I don't know, I keep getting the vibe that it's not necessarily good, but it's also not necessarily bad. It could just be sudden, inconvenient, and just, it feels bad at the time, but it might not end up that way, kind of like if you get a blood blister and you gotta pop it to let all the blood out. Like, that doesn't necessarily sound appealing or look good, but in the end, it is for the good. So it's just kind of ugly change for a better outcome. It could be. I don't know. That's the vibe I'm getting, and it's with the amethyst. Well, with the crystals, it's the attributes of the crystal are things that you would carry it to help you with. Like amethyst, you would help carry it as a clarifier or a magnifier. Um, it has many different attributes. Amethysts are uh, very varied. And yes, so eloquent. But they have a lot of different attributes to them, kind of like clear quartz. They have some overall traits, and then they have a lot of little specific traits. And like I said with the amethyst, the one that's sticking in my mind is decision making and balance. So, like I said, it's like I think it's about going back into balance or finding balance, and that can be a little terrifying, overwhelming, worrisome. Something's in my eye. That's fun. Um, but change is always at least mildly alarming, especially if it's getting you out of something, a familiar place, like a familiar comfy spot, and you're going out into the great unknown, and it's uncomfortable and terrifying and just a headache, even. But it's necessary and enlightening, apparently. Enlightenment. So that's like, it could be a week of learning unpleasant truths, too, which it attributes to the change because then it's, changing what you do and do not know. So, yeah, buckle up, it's gonna be a week. Right, Loki? Oh, it's just gonna be one of those kind of weeks. Well, at least we have some forewarning. What I usually take away with this sort of thing, normally I don't really believe in future predicting. To me, this isn't really future predicting, it's more just like getting a heads up of what this week is going to be, kind of like more in vibes than exact situations. Because I think you can get vibes for the future, just not necessarily exact situations. Um, this might be me just sounding like I'm trying to cover my ass, but I don't know. Because that's the point. I don't know. I have some ideas. I have some feelings, intuition, or as some people would call it, channeling a higher power, or, whatever. But it just kind of feels like cryptic warnings or just like the most mild of heads ups. But hopefully, hopefully this week won't be a disaster. I'm not feeling complete disaster, but definitely unpleasant, painful growth, change, very sudden forced healing, I think, for some people. It's stuff that you didn't want to address that it's coming, it's gonna be addressed. You don't get a say in it. It's gonna be addressed. And I apologize for being the person who has to bring this news. I could have, just not, but I started doing these weekly readings and now I just gotta keep doing it. So, hopefully this helps. Hopefully it gives everybody a heads up. Um, and no, it won't help you necessarily avoid what's coming, but it might help you be better prepared for it. Or at least when it's happening, if you can set your emotions aside for just one moment and go, oh, this is the disruptor. Maybe it'll help you calm down a little and look at it logically instead of emotionally. Uh, that's just the kind of person I am, but I'm just one person. Um, but but yeah, hopefully that helps. I have to go. Good luck.